Actually Controller, the podcast that is actually Controller. And we are actually in control of everything you're hearing right now. I'm so very sorry.
All right.
Hello.
Yo.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Actually Controller. You got Steve.
This is Jeffrey.
And a Chad.
And Chris.
Hey.
Wait, mic etiquette.
Yes. Yeah, don't forget the
Pull
mic
it away.
etiquette. Different
Pull it away.
microphones, different time.
So today we're kind of throwing it back a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh shit, we're gonna throw it back.
Yep.
Throwing it back.
Patreon moment.
There's nothing wrong with throwing it back, yo.
You know what? Actually, I want to see Chad throw it back.
I do not. Please.
Oh no, I
That might
want
be a
to.
Patreon moment. If you are interested in seeing Chad throwing it
Is this-
back,
is
I'm
this an
sorry,
ass pillow
that's
flip
gonna
moment?
be a new tier.
this might,
level.
that might be a new tier level, and we might be talking about a Fansly or something like that.
Good word.
But yeah, we were kind of discussing it, and instead of a review episode or an interview, we really haven't checked in to kind of let you guys know what's been happening throughout the year
Yeah,
and
there's
what
been
we've
a-
been doing.
We have been doing some stuff other than just going and playing shows.
Yeah.
This is a
You
big
know.
how you're doing.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
can discuss some of those things. And
some of the highlights, some of the things we really enjoyed, some of the things we're looking forward to doing still this year, or
yeah.
we were hoping to get done, but it's not looking like we're going to have the time to still cram it in this
Do
year.
I need to schedule out again something? Do
I
I need
don't
to
know.
take
I
to the
don't
whiteboard?
know.
Yeah, possibly.
All the highlights of my low life.
Oh, it's time to bring out the whiteboard.
The whiteboard is still
That was
riddled
rather
with the
uncomfortable.
marketing.
Yeah, that was rather uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna release some songs by the end of the day. We might need to go to the studio first, boys, and actually write them.
No, they were written. They just weren't finished.
It's 50-50 because we wrote some new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Visions 3 was a full right.
Yeah.
It was fully written in concept.
in concept. Man. All right, so Austin,
I had bits and pieces in my head.
Austin, I apologize for the state of that song when we came in, but thank you for working with us. Thank you for working with us.
No, it was fine by the time we got in there. It was here when we made him come over to do our pre-pro meeting.
Yeah.
We were like, here's the things. He's like, no.
Yeah. And this is what you
Nope.
need to change, and this
So
is why
before
you're
we
not
waste
doing
time
this.
at the studio, these are the rewrites we're going to do right now
Yeah.
in the rehearsal space. And then when you get to the studio,
You
those
know,
will
though,
be done.
Speaking of Visions
I feel
3,
lucky that he cares about us that much.
Yes.
though,
Speaking of Visions 3, I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to hear the finished studio version because
Yeah,
we are yet to hear that.
I talked to Putt. Me and him were out grabbing some beers the other day. Theoretically, the Visions EP should be ready for mix review, within the next 3 weeks.
And for those that don't know, what are the songs that are on Visions?
So, as the name might imply, it is only the different parts of Visions that have been released throughout the years. So, for everybody who's unaware, our very first album,
Undefined.
Undefined, ended up having what we recorded as originally just one solid track.
Yeah, and then it got split into three.
And then we split it into a intro, a mid-roll, and an outro.
And it was thoughts, ideas, and visions.
But at the end of the day, technically it was always as one piece considered Visions Part 1 to the band. So for the very first time ever on this EP, there is going to be a solid one-track version of that song actually put back together.
Yeah, put back together.
So
and released that way.
Visions kind of was like a starting mark of evolution, if you will, for the styles and all of the different reachings that Contrøller was at the beginning. Then in about 5 years, I'd say, we did the Visions.
No, it wasn't 5.
No, it was
dude,
on-
we were on a turn and burn at that point
Right.
in time.
Well, for
'Cause
Visions Part 2.
Visions Part 2 was on
That was
Ascending
released in
Degrees.
2014, so
Okay,
it was literally
it was
2 years later.
So there was a hard evolution that we were going through then. Then there was a lot of movement for us playing a bunch of live shows and
regional tours.
Regional
Sounds like a
tours
drummer
and so
issue.
on.
Yeah, just a little bit of
Around
drumming.
2014,
A
right?
little bit.
But then we went through like our kind of like a
Our growing pains
Yeah,
stage.
an
We'll
emotional
call it the
break,
growing
if you
pains
will.
Stage.
an emotional break of minds where we had to go and include Christopher eventually. But there was a lot of working and writing during that time, and it changed the way that
I was desperation, is what it was.
the evolution.
nonsense.
No, not at all. Actually, I was
I call
I was
bullshit.
pretty
About that.
Absolutely, because
pretty set that I wanted to work with you, and was even pushing him to
yeah,
contact.
maybe, but we were all kind of letting the coals sit for a minute
Yeah, there
until
was.
Jeff Cottle was like, "I want Contrøller on this show," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'll make it happen."
Yeah.
And
So
that you did.
Desperation on our end was like, "All right, we need Contrøller to be on the show." And I'm like, "I kind of like doing this."
Yeah.
Fine,
There's
I'll
some
audition.
worthwhile stuff here.
We really, we
Um,
really appreciate you bringing what you bring to the
Oh,
table.
so-
Like,
so
the way that
There
you
was
write's
always
way
the
different,
intention
too.
after we released part 2 that we wanted to make a part 3. We just we never had anything like destined of this. It's going to sound like this, or it's going to be this long of a song, or anything. We just knew.
So at this point in 2022, you had Visions 1, Vision 2, but you didn't have Visions 3?
no,
No.
there was always the plan
Or
all the
we,
way.
I'm
back.
sorry, we.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
Well, and
didn't
honestly,
have it in 2022. But if you're going to deal with the time before you were in, going back all the way to about 2016 was when we were like finally landed on there is going to be a part 3.
yeah.
Don't know what it's going to entail. Don't know if it's going to be on another album, if it's going to be its own release, how it's going to work. Just we knew there was always going to be a part 3.
It was just.
It just
It just felt unresolved.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
It
because everything relied on me writing the part because
Yeah.
all of Vision started with the bass.
It did. It the original bass line is a bass line that he had written for his grandfather.
No.
Nope,
It was
that's
just-
a different
It was
song.
just one
Oh,
that I had.
Okay, no,
It's just one I had in my back pocket for a long time.
Okay.
That was
for a long time.
that never got a recording.
Never got a home.
Yeah.
So it was something that I just threw out there. It got used, finally recorded, and got out there, and then
Well, it's because we were at the studio going, we need an intro, and we're like, oh, wait, we had nothing prepped. And Chad goes, I got this one
I
riff.
got
You
this
guys
one
want to
riff."
hear it? And we're like, cool, we had nothing else planned. We'll make that work.
Yeah, and so
that's how part 1 was
basically
created.
hit recorded and then went
Yeah.
and jotted down some of the quick phrases that are spoken over.
And then everything that you hear Jeff and I did on part 1 was a complete improv in a one take.
And you
Yeah.
guys are still referring to the original.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
Just,
and then
just keeping the audience.
into the second version, there was more thought put behind it, but it was again there was no. It was one of those recordings on the fly that we.
What,
did.
for part 2?
Yeah.
No.
I
Part 2,
I
no.
believe we didn't map it like we did.
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
no.
one.
Part 2 was completely
No,
and utterly
I actually
crafted.
came with like full.
That's
full
right,
structure
that's
on
right,
that one.
That's right.
Yeah, no, part 2 was completely crafted and everything. But part 3, I would say, has had the most intense crafting
Yeah.
out of all 3 of them because, Chad, I love you,
I was never happy with what I was.
but
doing.
you would not just own any of the damn riffs you brought. You're
No.
like, I'm like, cool, is this the one we're working? I'm like,
Indecisive.
okay, let's try to work it. Did you like what I did? No, I kind of like it. So is that the one?
No.
Next week, I came up with a couple more. Or do you want to work those and make those thing? It wasn't until I'm like, Chad,
Did we
We're
I put
literally
too much
recording
effort
in a week.
Did we point out the whiteboard, Chad?
yeah, Chad,
And then
I've
what's
already
fu-
put too much effort into the last one you brought. That's one we're keeping.
and what's funny is the final bass line that got recorded was one that was written on the fly here during rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was. I'm sorry, I'm eating the microphone. I thought that was really funny too. That I had worked super hard on like one of the first versions, and I'm like, he's definitely gonna go back to that one. He's gonna find it. He's
Nope.
gonna just go back to it. He's gonna. I'd worked so hard and diligently working on my part around that one.
I got to a point where I stopped being diligently working on the riffs until I got to the point where I was like, no, that's the one that you're going to keep because I put too much time in.
He didn't come back with it, and I was like, okay, now I have to write, because then Steve had decided, no, this is the one.
Well, that's because I had emailed well over 15 different riffs from rehearsal recordings.
You don't have to tell me. I have them all on my computer.
Yeah, I might still
The
have
wet
them somewhere.
transfers.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, the
thinking
wet
about-
transfers.
You know, I actually was thinking about going and sampling a bunch of the stuff that and like doing a necromancy song
So
out
just
of.
is it Visions 4 Afterthought or something like that?
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Afterbirth. Call it Afterbirth.
So there
This is
is.
the placenta of what we made.
So I will privy everybody to something that has not been discussed with the general public. So some people have actually already known that Part 3 has been written, recorded. There is going to be a Visions EP.
Oh, it has?
However, a lot of people
You know-
weren't privy to the fact that there was a Visions 2 remix
I didn't know he
that was
recording.
done back in 2016 by
Oh,
Jeff,
Yeah.
and it never got released.
Yeah.
So
and the cool part
that
of
remix is actually getting released on this EP.
Yeah, and you know the really cool part of that is all of the sounds that are on that came from the trash cans of a bunch of different studios. Like there's not legitimately any live notes being played. They're all manipulated to be that.
And to think
Pretty
that
cool.
the concept of the Visions EP has been around so long that we've had art for it that's
Yeah.
been sitting on the back burner
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art for the Visions EP he gave to me, Jeff gave to me for me to actually clean up and utilize back when we actually wrote Part 1
And if
for the
you,
first album.
if you're like paying attention to a prequel to The Hunt, you see a flash of that artwork right at the end of that video. Didn't you impose it?
No,
at the
that's
end?
not on that one. It is in the Ascending Degrees
Okay.
artwork.
The first Ascending Degrees
Yep.
before the extended cut.
Yep.
It was in the hidden artwork.
Yeah.
Yep, and then another part was actually utilized in the expanded edition that wasn't utilized in the first edition. So there has been Easter eggs of all of this.
Yeah, Visions
For
has
years.
been in concept for a long time.
I
And
love how
it's-
we kind
and
of
it's
just had a, we're
getting
going to
so-
highlight what's happened for this year, and it turned into a Visions episode.
Well, and then I'm sitting here going, I don't remember writing this at all. I mean, I do, but I'm like, I really cannot wrap my head around the music part of it.
Yeah, it's going to be
I
interesting.
remember the writing sessions. I
was act-
specifically remember the back and forth. Like, come on, Chad, we need something.
Oddly enough.
Come on, Chad,
like
and then we did
earlier-
something. It's
earlier
the one with the
today-
tempo change, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because then that was your idea because he had come with a whole other riff, and we were sitting there going, "Oh God, are we about ready to literally trash everything that we've already worked on?" Because the new riff that he has sold that he loves has absolutely no way of working with the other riffs as far as like integrating it into the structure.
Without
and
that
then
tempo
Chris is like,
change.
"Well, let's just make that the damn outro."
And
It's
it
like-
works so good too.
Don't overcomplicate it.
It's
Keep it
like,
simple.
All right, we're shifting all of our time signature and our BPM, and now it's the outro.
But it worked.
It did.
That I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Oh
work.
no, we made it work.
Yeah, it-
Yeah, and it sounded great actually. It was like when you had brought it up too. It was such a nod to like there was a band here in town called the Drug Cold Society, DCS, and they really were really good about doing those weird slow tempo changes where midway through into the chorus line the drop back would happen and they were able to pick it up and everything. It was kind of neat to be able to do something that was kind of an in my opinion.
Back when everybody wasn't running any type of a click track in their ear.
Yeah, it was just all natural.
There was no mapping, so there's.
But
Oh yeah, we
man-
could do all those tempo changes. It's fine.
Yeah, and that was what was so impressive about it because man, okay, I love all the guys from DCS, but the mere fact that they were capable and able to pull that off every time so well was like a magic trick. Watching them do it was like wow, and then like all of them were also wowed by it because they're like, we did it again.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it again. I love those moments when you see a musician who's like wowed himself and like he's like collectively like oh my
Sort of
God.
like in Control Yourself when we're doing the breakdown bridge.
Oh yeah, no.
And
It's
they all
like,
come in.
remember, it's a
quick
1,
2 count.
2.
Yep. We're like, oh, hey, we made it. Hey.
I won't lie. This last show, I'm like, okay, we got
Yeah,
it.
we
I
nailed
felt
it.
great, yeah.
That was
We nailed
on.
it. It felt good. I could feel the tension. Just
Yep, we're building up,
drop right
and
after
I'm
we
like,
hit. It's like,
are we gonna nail it? Are we gonna nail it?
We got it.
So
We got it.
So when we play out live, I generally have a few mistakes. This last time I had like 2 solid mistakes. I was so mad at myself though, because that was like some of the cleanest that I've ever played live. And I'm like, now these 2 specific mistakes feel like an ultra blemish. Yeah, do you guys ever have that?
Yeah, I do, because I was kind of in the same boat. I was running a fairly clean set, and I love you, Chad. And it's not like you would have ever known this, but I told Jeff this. You wandered over, and you were all so happy about showing off your dinghy, and you're just... you were enjoying the night, and you walked up and you just cuddled and you put your head on my shoulder mid-song.
Yeah,
the problem is that you did that during the most complicated riff I have in Discover.
Oh no!
Where I am doing string skipping. I have 5 different slides I have to pull off, along with reverse chording.
Yeah.
Chad's like, I'm just walking along the bass.
And so he walks
Unlike
over,
us.
and I got my picking hand going, and he leans his head on the shoulder, and I go. I'm just like, all right, well, that whole section's just screwed. All right, let's try to get over to this next section.
Weirdly, so you know, when Steve is fast and active, that's probably the best time to mess with him because he's like in a groove. But if he's slowing down and seems subdued, he's doing very, very intricate things. You can mess him up way easy.
Yeah.
I-
All of a sudden, you walk over, and I'm just like,
For me, it's the moments when you make a mistake and maybe one band member notices it, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I had that moment with Clarity Friday.
Yeah.
During, during the bridge part.
yeah, all of a sudden.
I don't know what I was thinking. I've just decided just to keep time.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just
I
rolled
eliminated
through.
almost all my fills.
all your fills.
And I'm like, just 2 and 4 with the snare, man. Don't miss. 2 and 4 with the
I
snare.
was
Don't
waiting.
miss.
There's a section to where it's like I've rewritten to match the way that you wrote it, to where it's a thunk 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 thunk, and all of a sudden you're just rolling through, and I'm like thunk that.
Yeah.
Alright, so I had a mistake on stage. It wasn't anything noticeable because how the mistake was, but
Those are the best mistakes.
I misread the set list. And I was getting ready for Clarity, and I'm like running through the
Oh, is that why you said the? Oh, never mind.
and I'm like, and the next thing I know, we got a sample playing. I'm like, the sample's not supposed to be here according. Oh wait, we're up here.
Well, that's how a couple of rewrites happen for both Controller and TKB. There are moments that we'll play something live and I'll skip and do something else, and I'm like, oh, I like that. We're gonna do that. All right, we're gonna throw an extra cymbal crash at that. That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but it was exciting on that stage because I was having a lot of fun. I did get a brand new bass.
Yeah.
And
So
a
as you
ding
just heard
wall.
me say, he was playing with his dinghy.
Yeah.
I got
it.
myself
Chad,
a ding.
elaborate.
I got myself a ding wall bass,
Oh.
a nice NG3.
Yeah.
Good old
Oh.
Nolly Get Good
Get
signature from Dingwall.
It's a bass.
And it's pretty.
It's amazing.
The sound is really good. It just thunderous. But I was super
Chris is
happy.
trying
I
to
was
start a
having
fight.
just a lot of fun on the stage
Yeah.
and just showing it off. I'm back and forth on the stage a lot more than what I normally am.
Yeah. 'cause he's
Apparently,
all
you weren't
excited.
running around too much, though.
No, apparently not.
I
I
saw a lot of
discovered over the
photos.
weekend
I got all
I
the
have a cracked
pictures.
cymbal.
You
That's
got
fun.
You got a cracked cymbal.
Yeah, I found that out. Oh, and I was asked previously, like literally the day of, like, how many drumsticks do you need? I said, I just need extra ones just in case, because I have Scorpion percussion sticks,
Yeah.
which are
Mhm.
signature for me, and
Mhm.
One of the controller endorsing.
and I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah,
break
go
them
check
like
'em out.
one every 6 weeks or so. It depends on how much we rehearse and things like that. Second song in, I snapped a drumstick, and I was like, I looked at the person who asked me. I was like, I cannot want to say the word.
You freaking-
you fucking jinxed me.
Yep.
Because,
King.
yeah. So anyway,
Um,
no new Dingwall for me, Chad. Just
Oh.
just a new symbol in
Chris
my
didn't
future.
get to show off his dinghy.
A replacement symbol in
It's
my
funny
future.
because like as soon as I made a post about buying the new bass, and I made sure in my post I didn't put what brand it was. The headstock was covered so nobody could see it. But good musician friends of mine right away was like, "Oh, now you can make the bad dad joke of stop playing with your dinghy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was posted on that thread with within like minutes
Yeah.
of you putting up the post.
So I love the musician friends that can recognize the bass just from a quick glance.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
awesome.
definitely
You had tried it out at Sweetwater. Tried one out at Sweetwater, right?
Mhm. I
And then
did.
you ended up driving up to Detroit.
Yeah.
literally
Sweetwater,
a road trip up, buy it, and a road trip back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the
same afternoon.
Yeah.
and came back to hang out with me on my birthday, man.
Yeah, it turned out to be a thing of Sweetwater just recently became official dealers for Dingwall bass. So their stock is still really low. And I had my eyes on two particular colors that I really wanted. And I wanted to be picky about what I was going to get.
Just for
once.
everybody who's not aware, this is not a cheap brand of bass.
No.
No.
By any stretch of the
No.
imagination.
Kind of
This is somewhat of a
boutique,
boutique brand.
Yeah.
So
Out of Canada.
But I was able to go and play around with one at Sweetwater to make sure that it's comfortable because I'm used to the standard fretboard with your straight fret bars, and this has fan fretting, so it angles up at the top of the neck, and then it angles the other direction at the bottom of the neck. So
For ergonomics.
for ergonomics and for comfort of the wrist, and so it's something different and definitely something that I have to get used to.
Yeah.
But I got to play around with one at Sweetwater and had a great time. Talked to the sales rep, and yeah, the ones I wanted were either back order or pre-order, which would have put it in either late November to January before I could get it. And I'm like, I really want it sooner than
But
that.
we have a show on Saturday. None of this works for me.
So I just so
Now.
happened to I got on Dingwall's website, looked up where their closest dealers were, and there's like 2 in Chicago and 1 up just outside of Detroit. And I got on the website, and they had the white pearl, which is the one I really wanted the most. But it was listed call for availability. And when I called him, he's like, yeah, we have that because we don't officially have it in stock, but it could be up on our wall. It could be a floor model up on our wall. He's like, let me go check on that. He came back. He's like, good news. It's here.
Nice.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm in Fort Wayne. So, you know,
So for those of you that don't know, Detroit is dang near 3 hours away.
yeah, it was a 3-hour
It's on the
drive.
north side of Detroit.
It was a
so yeah, it was
6-hour road trip to pick
was-
up his dinghy,
It was a 6-hour road trip just to buy a bass.
just to grab his dinghy.
Best 6
But
hours
it was
ever.
not just a trip to get his dinghy.
No.
He also got to go
I got to go to Sheets.
to the very first Michigan location of Sheets.
Hey.
How far away is it? Is it in Detroit?
It's like an hour and a half.
Yes. It's not really that far, actually.
I thought it was more about 2 hours.
No,
Yes.
it's about an hour and a half. It
I
was,
told
it was a halfway point.
I had a friend
Okay.
of mine that was on a road trip, and I told her about it, and she's like, what's so special about it? It's like it's like the best gas station food ever. But
Oh,
you can customize
I got
everything.
to introduce
Everything.
my
And she
girlfriend to
messaged me.
Sheets
She's
food.
like, she was outside getting gas, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not really hungry." I said, "You need to go inside and look at that menu. Just do it."
Just
Yeah,
And
just
she was
look.
like, "Oh my gosh."
Because
Basically, like at a fast food place that you have all of the fixings that like 100% can customize,
But
Well,
I would love to.
and it's cooked fresh right then.
I would
Yeah.
love to organize like a band field trip up to Motor City Guitar.
Oh, you mean like in March?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, at least 3/5 of the band were already going to be in
Yeah,
Detroit
yeah.
in March.
We need
Actually
to make a
passed
trip
that,
up to
last
Motor
week.
City Guitar. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's an old movie theater
Oh, nice.
that they
Got
took,
a bunch of neons on the outside.
no, they actually put 2 big guitars on the outside.
2 massive guitars that are 2 stories tall.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but
Crisscrossing the
inside-
front
I feel
door.
like I
The inside, they tore down the center wall between the 2 theater rooms. So, and it's just like where the stages for the theaters were is nothing but like walls of amplifiers.
That's
It is
awesome.
insane in there.
It reminds me of the one Sam Goody, the Music Town Sam Goody that has the wall of Marshall stacks, half stacks.
And they have bands that come in and do
So
showcases
speaking
on
of
those
the future
stages.
of the band, it
Yes.
sounds like we're all taking a road trip to Detroit. At some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
In
for
our
everybody who's
future.
unaware, that's my hometown. I try to convince everybody whenever I can to go up there and check it out because it no longer, in a lot of places, has anywhere near the same problems or stigma that everybody remembers it having.
Yeah.
And
Detroit's cool. We like
I have
Detroit.
multiple friends who can attest to that. It's not just me being biased. So,
No, I enjoy going up to Detroit.
yep. But
And I'm of that mindset of old school Detroit was fine.
but so kind of looking at everything so far this year, I think Chad can kind of attest that one of his highlights so far for the year for the band has been being able to get his new ding wall and
Which
upgrade the
I
gear.
have been
and,
eyeballing these bases for a couple years.
yeah, you
now,
and I have
so-
been back and forth about a lot of different specs on them for a long time.
Oh yeah, it feels good to finally be able to get
Pull the trigger
something
on
that
it.
you've been wanting for a long time.
So, Jeff, what would you say has been probably one of the highlights for the year for you so far? Or one that you're hoping will be the highlight, if you will, coming down the pipeline?
I mean, like, to be fair, like the South by Southwest run was huge.
Oh.
You know, just the opportunity to be even able to do that. Like, there was a lot of what's it called? Imposter syndrome that went along with that. Of like, do we really deserve to be here? Do we really, you know? And like, I just humongous amount of like humbled because the fact that we got to that was such a big deal.
I mean,
the big thing for me, my head focus right now, I'm learning a lot of really interesting stuff about music, like theory wise and whatnot. I talked to you a
yeah,
little bit.
you and
about
I have
that.
been back and forth with some of it.
And it's I kind of hit like a place. I'm sure every musician knows what I'm talking about, where it's like all the tricks that you learned aren't really interesting you like they used to, you know. And it's like you kind of find yourself going back to the drawing board to find something new.
Because if you don't, you're going to just write the same song you wrote
over
and over
again. Yeah, and I kind of had hit like before this year, kind of this weird stagnancy where I felt like I had kind of reached the pinnacle of my skill and ability, and I was getting kind of depressed about it. Actually, it was kind of eating me up. And then with these last, I'd say it's been really almost these last 2 to 3 months where I've felt re-enlivened by new modes and scales that I really hadn't considered, and finding a new principal purpose for why I'm writing, and that's been pretty cool. So
That's fair.
Hell yeah.
I'm looking forward to writing another 12 albums with you guys. I've already started. I'll get you caught up.
Hey, cool. I appreciate you getting us involved. No, I like. I put up a post earlier, about a month or so ago, I think, where it was a shared memory, and I think it was in regards to our Echoes of Tomorrow tour.
Yeah.
And because I had put up the post, and Chris had jumped in on even on the thread and commented towards it, but it's like the South by tour, the Elevate tour for this year, does not feel like it was this year. Like, it feels so long ago
It
already.
really does.
Yeah.
To me, and I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, holy crap, how was all of that happened in only 2 years, when all of a sudden it's like going through the punch list of the, okay, we did that, 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 and we
Well, yeah,
did that type thing.
I was formally hired March of 22 or April 22, something like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
something
somewhere.
And all the
there.
stuff that we've already accomplished has barely been 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready to like kick it into high gear now?
Yeah, cool. So Jeff
it's time-
just formally announced that he is officially Controller's manager.
Shit.
Oh,
time to
so he's
start
financing
scheduling
it?
the next
Is that what's
Yes.
happening? Because
He's
Amazing.
financing and taking care of all of the spreadsheets.
So
finally,
since you heard my new position,
right?
yes.
since you guys have all heard my new position, please
Fresh lobster.
check out our Patreon.
Oh boys.
Because that's the only way it's getting financed.
Literally the only way.
Just
it's gonna
donate to our
happen.
Patreon.
check out
please.
Jeff's OnlyFans. 'cause
But
that's
check
how he's
out
gonna
my
pay for it.
Fansly. It's
Yeah.
literally just a bunch of pictures of dirty fans.
And they're all from my basement. It's weird.
It's really weird. Yeah.
But
Look at those dirty
yeah, I mean, it's one of those like trying to come to because.
The new thing of groupies.
But I was just I just got it in the mail the other day. I had gotten on because while we were playing there, I was him-hawing about it and everything like that, and I just never ended up pulling the trigger. But when we played Harpo's, I was like, man, I kind of want to get a shirt. I just never ended up getting around to buying one before we left. And so I hopped on their website the other week, and I ordered one off their website, and it just came in. And then I was like, yeah, because I played there. Wait, did I play? No, I didn't play there. Wait, when did I play there? I'm like, oh, crap. That was a year ago.
That was a year ago.
That was the end of the last tour, like 2 tours ago type thing.
Well, it's like I finally got around to being able to buy like the Defiant shirt that I'm actually wearing today for the people in Patreon.
I did know that you're supporting. I saw that. I was gonna
and
call
it's
it out.
like I wasn't able to do it during the first tour. Like I was really watching my money during that tour. But when I saw since they're out touring right now and they're pushing merch and their website merch, I was like, I am getting on. I am buying a Defiant shirt.
So in 2.5 years, we've accomplished 3 little mini tours.
Yes.
Yeah. And they can only be
3
called
EPs?
so much of a mini tour with the distance. All of them haven't had necessarily a lot of dates.
Yeah.
In the scope of what a lot of people consider like big tours.
2,000 plus miles
But
each.
every tour has the first tour I think we calculated at just shy like 1,900 miles. Second tour we hit like 2,300 or 2,400 miles.
So that makes
this
up for the
last
first
tour.
one.
We hit like 2,700 total miles.
Yeah, we don't need to go any farther on our
Are
next
you
tour.
sure?
My sciatic says
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Well, there's talks of Vegas or something. I mean,
I
what
might
I've
have a
heard.
friend who is trying to take a band of mine either towards Vegas or to the Nash area, Louisville and stuff like
now
that.
this is where I like the fact that I can check my gear
Yeah.
for flight.
So yeah, we've talked about that. It's really fresh. It's a
This is nowhere
So
near, so nobody out there try to immediately take this as
I may end up in Vegas
There's
this
no
in another
guarantee
month
on
or
this
two,
yet?
and then we'll probably have deeper conversations with that contact. So
There's no guarantee yet.
yeah.
Yeah. However, though, I mean, I guess some of my highlight would really be from this year. I cannot sit here and say that us being able to be indoctrinated into the whiskey tribe was not
That was amazing.
one of the highlights of
That
the
was
year.
amazing.
You had a chub for days, man. Come on.
Dude, don't even try to front like you didn't too.
Dude,
I
we're
thought it
part
was
of the
an amazing
Whiskey
experience, but I'm sorry,
Illuminati.
Problem is I didn't know the lure.
We're part of the
Lord.
Even as a
Whiskey
non-whiskey
Illuminati.
person, I could highly appreciate.
Yes, it was
We are
amazing. I
literally
appreciate
part
it,
of the
but I feel like
Whiskey Illuminati.
none of us at that level appreciated it. Okay.
No, and
We were excited. Our chub lasted a day. His lasted for the next 3.
I don't know.
Oh,
My
yeah.
esoteric.
mine
He was
sustained
sporting one
for-
before we even went. He's like, "Oh my gosh, we're going." I'm like, "Cool, whiskey distillery.
I
Cool,
think
thanks for
every
thinking
time
of me,
the
bro."
memory pops up, it just replenishes.
I do show every once in a while. I'll show some pictures and videos, and I'll be like, "Hey, check out this room."
I just
It's just hard to describe that.
I just
no,
recently-
the
The room,
entire
the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I still have what's his name, Gordon.
Yeah.
yes.
I have him as a
Did you
saved.
read?
no,
Did you read the?
yeah, I have a saved tab, La Mancha.
Yeah.
La Mancha.
Yeah, for his book.
Yeah. I read parts
Gordon
of it. I haven't
Atkinson.
gotten through all of it yet. I've been trying to read it honestly and consider for chapter
actual-
for chapter. Yeah.
The content of
Dude
it.
Yeah.
was a true goat, man.
Yeah,
oh, God,
totally.
yeah.
Man, and the things that were to be learned there were just immense. It was solid.
Yes, but yeah, I mean that alone, I can't sit here and emphasize enough that was a once in a lifetime experience and everything like
Totally
that.
was.
Given
honestly,
just
it
the
saved-
serendipity of how
Yes,
it happened.
It saved the day in a weird way. Okay, so that particular day at South by, we ended up playing a early morning showcase. So we basically were playing to the Foxtrot Bar.
yeah, we were second on.
And
Yeah, Whiskey Tango
one
Foxtrot.
oh,
That's
one-
right.
Ice House.
only one
WTF?
other band that
WTF
was
Ice House.
in the crowd at the time that we played. And to be fair, the sound guy was not interacting. I'm going to just say that he was not communicative. To be nice,
It was a
about
job.
Yeah, and he didn't even get informed
chore.
from what we got told afterwards. He didn't even get informed that he was actually supposed to be doing that job that day, even while he was there.
Yeah, and he the entire set that we had, halfway through, he thought he was running a sound check while we were
Yes.
running our set. So that was half the problem there. There was other issues.
Like breaking a string and
I was going to bring it up.
oh, I'll take it. So yeah,
And then getting handed a guitar that's not in the tune that we
it's
normally
not in the right
play.
tuning, and being like play, and it's me transposing on the fly. Anyway,
So,
You act like
by
it's
the
a
time
traumatic
we get-
experience. I don't know why we're living that.
So while we get
because it
done with all
made
that,
the juice so much sweeter at the
it
end
did.
of the day.
So while
It
while
did.
we're doing all this, we find out that we can go to the Whiskey Tribe Distillery.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
Crowded
they're
Barrel
open.
Distillery is
Yeah,
technically
and then
what
it was still open for another 2 hours or something.
No, like,
that.
we
It was like
we-
about an hour.
like an hour.
Maybe not
If
even that.
that.
40 minutes. It
But
was.
we-
It was. You guys arrived. This is last call. Get what you
Right.
want. And this is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we looked at the
and
time
go
frame.
the bass player into a tequila shop.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno.
tequila.
It's your
Yo.
favorite. Tequila's your favorite, man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my.
It was
But
great
yeah,
time.
we
So
looked at the time frame.
That's what that whiskey shot was about Friday, right? Was that just payback?
That was payback.
to kind of salvage the day though, because we weren't having a great time of it, but we were still, trying to experience Austin and like do the things. We hightailed it over. We were able to buy some fantastic liquors and
Get some merch, got
get
some
some
food,
merch, got
awesome
some food.
over
Oh
at the
my
food
God.
cart.
Oh, those tacos were so good.
Hey, the burger was not slouchy either.
No, the burger was pretty good too.
They had
The
lengua
asada.
tacos that I had.
Yeah,
It
and
was
he had
just
lengua.
phenomenal.
It was amazing. It
But
was so good.
for anybody who's unaware, the Crowded Barrel is on a massive property that is also owned by a non-for-profit school and
And
an
that's-
event center. It is a big property with multiple businesses and everything, but you're able to wander pretty much the whole property regardless of which entity it is and everything,
Except for
except for the Wizard Academy.
the Wizard Academy, and that is where our friend Gordon, who was just taking care of the grounds, he's the gate guard that
Yes.
that handles the entire property in the evening times
For the Wizard Academy.
for the Wizard Academy. And now, mind you, you have to be invited to go to the Wizard Academy. You have to you don't
or
get,
be a student.
or be a student. You don't get to just go and check it out.
It is a non-for-profit business school.
And our friend Gordon, who we just met that day, liked us.
Gordon.
You're sorry, Gordon.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gordon's a different guy.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. We had a short conversation, and he decided to invite us in, and oh my goodness.
But we met him by like you said,
And
serendipity,
happenstance,
happenstance. So
yeah,
we were all
absolutely.
hanging out at the what was probably the,
The
chapel.
chapel.
The chapel.
It was technically
And we were
the
just
chapel.
checking out the view and just trying to see if Chad was going to hork over the rail after his tequila.
Not sure.
It's always going
Not
to be
because he
a
was
joke.
drunk, but because it was hitting him that hard.
Watching the
with
sun,
spikes.
watch the beautiful sunset with the guys.
There was
Yeah.
jalapeno
And then we were wandering up because there was still a little bit of a trail, but it just kind of faded off.
Yeah,
We're like,
I didn't
yeah,
end up
maybe we're not
wandering that
supposed to
far.
go this
there were
way.
Some plaques
Yeah.
along the way.
And I had a little fear.
Then
of,
we
like,
turn around, and
getting
next thing we know,
eaten by
Jeff is there with a new friend.
Yeah.
because the chapel.
Hey
had a
guys,
whole-
come meet Gordon.
Yeah, because the chapel had a whole bunch of chairs set up because there was some type of a wedding or a reception or something like that had happened earlier in the day.
got a
He was
bad
going to clean
habit
everything
of
up, break
making
everything
friends.
down.
We end up
for the
helping
night.
him fold up those chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Well, I got to take care of these, and if you guys are interested, we can do a tour after." We're like, "How about we help you clear all
Yeah,
of
that
this,
was-
and
that was-
expedite it, and then we do this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no, if you could do that,
If
heck
you
yeah."
could see Steve doing like the skippity skip,
dude, I'm not
Oh
going
my
to
God.
deny,
like
that I was-
when you're jumping, you click your heels. He was that was
Yeah.
he didn't really
Yeah,
do that.
he did
didn't
the-
really, but you
He
knew
did
that's what he
the-
wanted
He
to.
did the arm pump.
Oh yeah,
and
How-
like
he did do that.
he actually dabbed. At one point, he actually dabbed.
Oh, I missed it.
He did dab.
I don't remember. I'm not going to
Oh.
deny that there's a high
He
possibility. I
actually
did.
There's a
dabbed.
possibility.
I will say on the way too, though, we had some weird conversation about chili dogs, and
Yeah.
Gordon wants to come up to try Skyline chili. Is that
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah,
Skyline
because
chili.
And we're
he's
like, no,
what's
Coney
a
Island, bro.
Cincinnati
Yeah, we need to
chili
bring
thing, and it's like that's Skyline, but you don't need to experience
Yeah,
it.
no. Coney
We'll
Island's
just
where
bring
it's
you
at.
Yeah,
to
that's
Fort
good.
Wayne's famous Coney.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll take you up to Detroit and get you a proper Coney dog.
Oh hell yeah!
But anyway,
Again, Detroit.
yeah. But we ended
I
up
gotta
doing that whole thing.
apologize to
I
my
cannot
girlfriend.
say
I'm sorry.
enough that was definitely a highlight for a once in a lifetime opportunity. But I mean, even outside of that, did the band privy that? Yes. Can I say that that was the highlight for the band stuff for me this year? I don't know. I think honestly,
No, he likes that I got a new dinghy.
I will say him getting a new dinghy is definitely a big highlight for me too. But
How does Jess feel about the new dinghy?
she already knew that I had ownership. But I mean, being realistic
it was
though,
the opportunity
it was
to play down at the.
it was the fact that we got some new territory that we got thrown under our belts. But I mean, I think the biggest part for me was the fact that we got another release out this year, and it didn't have anywhere near the stress level that the previous release had for the release party.
Well,
No. The From Ashes EP.
No, I know.
Didn't have anywhere near the stress level that the Find Yourself EP did.
was that
sure.
is that because of, like, the whiteboard?
Well, no, man.
No,
the
that's
Find
because
Yourself.
I wasn't going to UPS to try to get.
Yeah, I remember you
Pick up the
saying
albums
that.
the day that
Yeah.
we're moving for tour.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
sure if we're gonna have
Everything
it.
actually went off. We had the CD release show with Heartsick at Pierre's. Everything was good. It was just a fun, proper launch.
What was that city in Kentucky again?
Glasgow.
Glasgow, yeah. Woo.
They
But-
had an awesome hibachi.
Yeah,
They
I
did.
will say I never in my life thought that I would go through that town more than once ever.
Yeah, we drove right
and
past
then we
the venue.
drove through it on the end of
Not
the
just drive. We drove past the venue.
Yeah.
As,
It's like-
as we were driving through, I was like, "We've been here before."
Yeah, we drove
Massive
past
deja
it
vu.
to the last date on the tour, and then it routed us back to where we were supposed to go right back past it.
So the second
again, on the
second
way
and
home.
third tours, we've now had deja vu moments because remember the second one we were in Pennsylvania, turned
Yes.
off a random turnpike and found the sheets
and
that was in the same location. We, mind you, we bypassed it before we knew what sheets
because we
was.
didn't know of sheets. That
Tour
morning.
1, we were like, let's find the cheapest gas. Yes, buddy. Tour 2, we're like, no, we're finding sheets.
Yep. And then on that tour, we so happened to bump into some awesome guys we played with
Cane Hill, right?
in Cane Hill.
Yeah, Cane
Hill
Hill.
pulled in and literally was parked next to us at the pump. They were walking into the sheets as we were walking out. I'm like, dude,
Oh, that was
what's
that.
going on?
That was that. When
That,
they
that
were
was
going.
actually a really cool moment.
Yep.
The recognition from one band to another. It
Oh.
was like,
Yeah,
oh.
hey, we're literally going in opposite directions on the tour, though, too. We're heading home. You're heading in.
And they were doing the Blue Mountain thing, right?
Blue
No,
Ridge?
they had a
Blue
different
Ridge.
Yeah, they had a
Blue
different
Ridge.
show they were doing. However, though, getting all around, this is kind of jumping and it's kind of running longer.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's the whiskey stuff was awesome, definitely a highlight. But I can honestly say it's probably the successful release of the first EP for me. So, Chris,
I like playing drums.
what's a successful?
And that's a cut.
Was your highlight that we got you back to the house?
My highlight was that I
After
actually
driving?
was able to, yes, to make it back to my vehicle. Dude, that last gas stop at Speedway in Indy, I almost collapsed.
I know.
Oh,
My
yeah.
leg and sciatic. It's a very interesting feeling when you are in such pain in your sciatic and your hip and groin that I had to. It was almost like my leg was numb, but it was
Yes. Yeah.
pain.
Yeah,
So swinging
it
it
was
into the
numb
car
and
and swinging
pain.
out of the car.
Yeah, I was riding shotgun at that moment. It was
Yeah.
just like
I had worries
seeing
about
him
you
get
just-
in and out of the car was
Yeah,
just like,
that was
it
fun.
was
That was
torture.
good times. Good times, bro.
I had worries about
Good
you
times.
hitting your threshold and just passing out from it.
Nah,
Honestly,
no, it's
man.
all good. It's just it was more of a trying to get comfortable on the
And there's no comfort
I don't.
at that
Man,
point.
we've done so much this year, and not to be fair, I also have other projects that keep me busy. It's really hard to keep everything.
Right.
I just still having a good time. It is. I was thinking about this like South by was in March. Obviously enjoyed that,
Mm-hmm.
but it was our first spring tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually at this time we'd be coming off our
Yes.
fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
run,
Yeah, we're
'cause the
highlighting our tour.
First run was August, September. Second
Yeah.
run was August, September, and here we are 2 weeks into September, or
Yeah.
3 weeks by the time you see
And
this.
so
see
this
here
is a
this.
flip from our.
So it's
usual
like, man, this
scheduling.
is
We're
totally
used
different.
to like finally coming down from our like, oh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Type of point. We're like,
right. We should be coming home from the
cool.
road right now, but yeah,
Yeah.
we've been chilling.
But
Yeah.
instead, this year we can do pumpkin patching and we can go watch the Great Pumpkin.
and we didn't disrupt a Chris tradition with his Labor Day.
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
kind of
Stuff.
like the biggest deal
Yeah,
for us
that
was
was
we
rough.
wanted to try to make sure that you weren't.
We had a schedule around that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't at any point really have an option on this tour where it was kind of we got the South by option, and then we were like, all right, cool, we're building the tour around that.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think South by again was a highlight. We've revisited that like not just tonight, but like several
multiple
times.
times.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we
without
did 2
going back
full
to there, I
episodes on
did.
that.
I
If you
did
want to hear all the nuances, go check out the South by recaps.
the cidercade with the drone.
Oh,
that was pretty
that was
cool.
fun.
That was a pretty neat experience, even though we were from a distance.
Yeah.
But we do have to recall the toga party we had at Stan's room.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a
great.
lot of fun.
It was. We brought our friends Wolves of Oz, and they
Yeah.
absolutely crushed it. And it was just
Ooh,
a
we need to do
good
another
night.
Wolves review.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was fun. Like I don't usually
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Halloween show now because I
Yes.
don't usually do the dressy. I have my stage costumes that I wear for each band.
Yeah.
But going outside of that norm is like,
But
that
now
was
we
kind
get
of
to
fun.
dress up and do fun stuff. Yeah.
That was
let's
kind of
do it.
fun. So, kind of looking forward to that. I don't know if we're short on time, but
Personally,
that'll be a fun show
I'm
with
huge on that because
Which we got a costume party coming up in October.
October 26th
Yep.
with Shim and Shallow Side. I love those guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
TKB has played with them several times. They're good dudes.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of energy. Their music is great. I don't recall the rest of the lineup. Sorry
we will
to the
be
other bands,
doing a music review of everybody on that bill outside of us and
the
Shallow
next
Side
episode.
actually in the next episode. So
Do you see how I led into the next
Yes.
one?
Look at
That's-
that.
good volley.
That's-
So
yeah.
unless anybody else really has anything to add for this episode,
No, I think we need to cut it because the one.
I'm looking forward to hearing Visions 3 that I totally don't remember.
yes.
I say that with authenticity because
no.
I remember I remember writing. I remember the sessions. I remember the energy.
If it wasn't for me listening to pre-pros
But I'm-
earlier today, I had
I am completely
forgot
drawing
all
a
of it.
blank on the
Isn't it
actual
kinda
score.
nice?
So it's going to be a fun surprise.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh wow, that's a good
We're all
song.
going to premiere it together.
That's a good song. Who wrote that? Oh, I did. Wow.
Well, and again, I've got a new phone since then, so I don't have those
Yeah.
pre-pros.
Oh.
Remember, I broke it last
Oh,
October.
that's right.
You
So,
don't even
anyway.
get to go back and check it out. You're just gonna have to wait.
It is. I know. So, Austin, on you, bro. Let's get this going.
So, all right. Well, we will be doing a music review for the next episode of some of the highlights from the upcoming Halloween show. So please make sure you check that one out as well.
Yes.
So that way you can kind of get an idea of what's going to be happening and hit us up for tickets for that one. It'll
Oh
be
my
15
God.
advance, 20 day of. So
I do
we
gotta
will
say,
remind
this
you
rum
again
is
in the
hitting
next
pretty
episode
good.
about all those details. So I didn't hear anything. you
Bamboo
said.
and cookie coke.
His rum is hitting pretty good, and at that I think we should probably
Yes.
cut out. Thank you guys
All
so
right.
much for hanging out with us. We
Later.
love your guts.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Actually Controller. If you liked what you heard, please consider following us on all our socials. You can easily find us on all the different platforms by going to linktree/controller33 or scan the QR code if you're watching the video version of this episode. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.